Constanze Klosterhalfen, European champion in Munich over 5,000 metres. That was almost one comeback. And then Constanze Klosterhalfen went off the radar again. She's been injured. She was very ill this summer. Picked up a virus training in Ethiopia and didn't really know what was going on and just had to call time on the track season. Delighted to be back here racing in a German vest. Abby Donnelly picked up a very considered, well-measured bronze medal in Brussels last year. It wasn't by accident. She committed to the pace, she put herself in contention and she held on very well. Donnelly kind of building into a road specialist, trying to make that move up to marathon, but she's very good on cross country. Nadia Battocletti, Olympic medal, silver medal over 10,000 metres. That was a phenomenal sprint finish against a whole host of athletes. She was only outkicked by the world record holder, Beatrice Chebet. She's got 2 junior medals, 2 under-23 medals, looking for her first senior cross-country European medal here today. If she does that, she will join a very elite club. But Yasmin Chan already has 4 gold medals in this championships. She arrived on the scene a few years ago and dominated for a long time. She's dealt with injuries, dealt with illness. It was a wonderful win over 10,000 in Munich a couple of years ago at the European Championships. She outsmarted the likes of Klosterhalfen and Ailish McColgan of Great Britain. And they got wise to her tactics in the 5,000 metres. Chan couldn't repeat the gold medal there. Klosterhalfen really figured it out. But Yasmin Chan here on home soil will be sure she'll be in the very best shape possible. Now underway, it's penultimate race here at the European Cross Country Championships. Nadia Battocletti not giving anything to chance. She's chosen to stand in the middle of the field. And she's going to try and get herself in a good position before they take this sharp left-hand turn. There's a splinter group, though, over on the other side. Just perhaps slightly ahead of Battocletti. Is that where Yasmin Chan is? The local camera will definitely focus in on Yasmin Chan. She loves to run hard. She loves to test the field. And I think Battocletti will be ready for that.
Well, I was talking to Yasmin Chan yesterday at the press conference, and once their formalities were over, and she said her training's been going very well back in E10 in Kenya. She said spends most of the year in Kenya, although she runs for Turkey these days. Turkey spent most of the summer, about 3 months, in Turkey, and she's been back in E10 for the last few months. Her husband Vincent helps her with her training. Doesn't have any children yet, but she said things are going pretty well. And she feels though she could give a really good account of herself here today. It remains to be seen, because the first of those titles she won back in 2016 was, 8 years ago now, and this is perhaps a new generation of athletes she's up against here today, but certainly there'll be massive support for her around the course, Hannah.
It was a fast start there for Mariana Machado, the Portuguese athlete. She's got a pair of bronze medals in the junior and the under-23, both behind Nadia Battocletti and Clara Lucan. Those 3 moved through the age groups very well, but Machado was happy to get herself in a good position on that start straight. And looking on the face of this, it does look like a slightly slower, slightly more conservative start. And the athletes haven't really got going. Rina of Italy, the next to be leading as they go up this little hurdle, but this little hill. This is tricky. You can see the athletes running into each other on that obstacle. They're about to come to the logs. I would love this race just to spread out a little bit, but I think we're going to have to wait a couple more minutes for that to happen.
Yeah, you don't want to spend too long. I mean, I ran a lot of cross-country back in the day, Hannah. You don't want to spend too long in a pack like that, watching when you're twisting and turning and negotiating obstacles. You want to get a good view of the log obstacles. There you see one of the athletes at the front end there, an Italian vest, I think, just getting clipped from behind. It was Reina who looked over her shoulder and said she was a glance round behind her. She must have been clipped. But you don't want to spend too long spending energy avoiding those around you, being in a big pack like that. And it's one thing in a road race when you're running a straight line, but on a course like this, it makes it doubly difficult. So I prefer to clear out from the pack, or else, like this athlete has done, or else be to one side of it.
Yeah, nearly 8 kilometres in cross country is hard enough without barging and getting your pace thrown around by those around either side of you. Manon Trapp of France is a marathon runner now, and she's worked her way through the different distances and through the different events, and settled as a 2:25 marathon runner. She was a former judo player, black belt in judo, but she gave that up because she felt it didn't quite work alongside what she needed to do for her running. But again, we've said this with the athletes that are competent over the longer distances. They're the ones that are just saying we need to stop messing around, we need to run hard. And Manon Trapp looking very comfortable. Of course, Sophie Duarte a title for France as well.
Do you know what's bizarre about that? I mean, I used to do a bit of judo myself up to about 16 when I broke my nose for the second time. And I started getting beaten up. Is to get a black belt in judo, you have got to get to a supremely high level of competence, and to then give it up and take up another sport takes a special mindset. Trapp here looks the part, doesn't she? She's squat and powerful compared with a lot of the athletes. Twice the French cross-country champion. It'll be interesting to see how she goes here, because that's a big lead she's built here, Hannah.
And Trapp doesn't look very comfortable over those hurdles. It's quite laboured, giving away a lot of energy, a lot of momentum. Perhaps she's not confident in the obstacles out on the course, and she's trying to separate herself and give herself clear sight. And they won't let her get too far ahead, Man and Trapp, but she'll be aware that if that pack does catch her, by that point, hopefully it will be spread out. Hopefully she'll have already made people work to get back on terms with her, and that'll be the best for her team, her chances. Italy leading the team challenge early on, as to be expected, and Battocletti is leading the rest of the pack, and I think the other athletes, the other women alongside her, will be kind of saying, come on, you're a silver medalist at the Olympics. It's your job to close this gap. We haven't got that accolade. If you could just get on with it and pull back Man on Trapp, that would be great. Battocletti is a very astute racer. I think she'll have her eye on how to get the gold medal here and nothing else.
Well, this is the most bizarre opening lap of the entire day. Nobody else in any other race has built up a lead as big as this, and Trapp here running with real confidence. I mean, she's a 70-minute half marathon runner. She's only run 15:19 for 5,000. Just looking through her CV and her other qualities, 9:05 for 3,000. But she's making this a punch-up in the early stages, and a one-sided punch-up, isn't she? Crikey. Robles of Spain up at the front end of the pack as well, the best of their athletes so far. But 5 minutes on the clock, Hannah, and we have to remember this is the longest race of the day so far, 7.5 kilometres, 5 laps. This is, I don't want to say rash running from Trapp, but I don't think we expect to stay out there for quite too much longer.
Well, I mean, she'll know herself. She'll know how to run long reps. I'm sure Man and Trapp does 5 kilometre reps all on her own as part of her marathon training. She's, I'm surprised that they're letting Man and Trapp just go. And like I said, she has the advantage. She can pick her line. She's got clear sight of everything, and that adds up. That advantage adds up. Whether it's half a second a corner, half a second an obstacle, that just keeps going and keeps going. So I think at some point, someone, whether it's Battocletti, whether it's Chan, someone is going to punch out from that chasing group and try and chip away at Trapp, but fair play to her.
Well, if we ignore Trapp, pretend she's not there, the race is developing normally. Battocletti and Chan, the favourites, are back in second and third. Erol of Turkey is up there as well. Machado of Portugal, Robles of Spain I've already mentioned, but Trapp here building on that lead and giving absolutely everything. I hope she knows it's a 5-lap race. That looked a little laboured at the top of that rise on this second lap. Only 6.5 minutes on the clock. Sometimes athletes just let the adrenaline, the blood rush to their heads, and judgment goes out the window. I hope that's not one of these occasions, for one of those occasions from Man on Trapp here, but it is an unusual sight.
Well, that first lap by her was 5:32, way faster than any first lap by a women's race today, even though the previous races weren't running as far. So 5:32 compared with 5:51 in the under-23s.
Yeah, isn't it? And she's got an 8-second lead after that first lap. That is a big old lead. The Brits and the French and the other favoured team athletes back in the top 20, 25 places. As Trapp here pours it on. If this was the final lap, you'd say, yeah, great, widening it up wonderfully.
Trapp will get another look at her going over the barriers here, or just about all right. Oh, did say earlier on in, I think it was the under-23 men's race, there isn't quite space to take a step in between those logs. You are better off just taking one step between and having those elongated strides, and that's tough because that does break up your rhythm. And Trapp was a mad dash over that last log, and she's looking to the side. She's got to have some team support there telling her what's going on, telling her how big the gap is, whether she's making the right choice here.
Well, she has got some decent credentials. She was 4th in the under-23 race back in 2021, and then 6th the next year in 2022. So she's used to finishing up in the top 10 in previous editions. She's only 24. She has got enormous strength, and you mentioned her marathon running as a reserve for the French squad for the Paris Olympic Games. She so nearly made their team to run in front of the home crowds on that astonishing marathon course back in August. But the lead is 9 seconds now ahead of that pack of the big names. Battocletti, Chan, Klosterhalfen has eased up there to the front end as well. Lati, she's one of my dark horse names for this race. Had a big win in the Tilburg cross country a couple of weeks, well, about 3 or 4 weeks ago in the Netherlands. Axford and Donnelly up there for Great Britain, with Hughes also there. Just a word, we just had Marta Penfreitas of Portugal go through the camera as well. She finished a chemotherapy for breast cancer some 6 weeks ago, Marta Penfreitas. It's wonderful to see her here running. She's a bit further back in the pack as well at the moment. Machado leading the way for the Portuguese team. Manon Trapp. Well, have a look. They're just coming towards the end of this lap. It was 8 seconds on the first lap, but you kind of feel like Chan and Battocletti are getting organised there a little bit, because you can see this chase pack spreading out a little bit. Moringa, the Romanian, trying to stay involved, in Sarah Lati. I do think that's a good pick though, Tim. I think the Swede could have a good day today. Well, they're not far from the end of the second lap of 5, so we're a long way from halfway yet. Trapp moving well here down the home straight on this long downhill drag towards the finish line, and just before they get to the finish line they bear right and head out on the next lap. But I don't think that gap is 9 seconds now. I think she's slowed over the last couple of minutes. I think you're right, Tim. I definitely don't think she's extended it. We will see as Manon Trapp crosses in front of the start-finish area. I think that's where we're getting the splits kicking up, but Battocletti and Chan are starting to stretch. But this downhill start-finish straight, I feel like it's almost giving anyone a chance to get back involved. If they've slightly struggled on the back half of the course, or they've got caught up in a tight corner or an obstacle, they've got this long straight to say, come on, just give myself 10-20 seconds to get back into contention. So 8 seconds. Trapp keeps the same distance ahead of Battocletti and Yasmin Chan. It's funny, isn't it? The mindset of those big names, Battocletti and Chan and Klosterhalf and all those others up in the top half dozen or so behind Trapp, has to be, we'll just let her go, because she is not a serious contender. There's Nanova. That's a sorry sight. Great shame there for Nanova. Steps aside off the track. But I was going to say, Hannah, I think you just have to get on with your race and assume she will come back. There's plenty of room yet, over some 3 laps yet in which to catch her if she persists in leading like this through the 3rd and 4th laps of the 5. And that is relatively unlikely. A glance over her shoulder there to see what damage she's done. I mean, it's been admirable so far, Hannah, but I think the others, Battocletti, looking very calm as she's leading that chasing pack. And the thing for me, for Manon Trapp, like, she knows what she's doing here. She's testing herself mentally and physically. She will know she's got to do something if and when this group catch her. And if I was her, I'd be thinking, they're going to be so tired when they catch me. I'm going to have taken a lot out of them. I'm going to be able to run with them when they get to me. And that's going to help me on my way to top 6, top 5, maybe even a podium finish. So I think Trapp will be piling on the pressure in a controlled way to hope that she takes every bit of energy out of these women, puts them out of their comfort zone as much as she can. Well, there's a finger in the air judgment as they went over that rise. I was counting, and I think she's still got about an 8-second lead over the rest of them. Little unfooted there over that sandy section, which is awkward. There, look at Klosterhalfen almost going over there. Made a real meal of that. It is difficult, that sandy section. Robles still going well, the best of the Spaniards. Axford going through, they're leading the chasing pack. Rooms of Belgium in there working hard. And they're at about halfway now, about halfway round this 3rd lap. Battocletti and Chan just beginning to ease away, a few little gaps appearing, and that pack is being stretched out. I wonder if the chase is on. It'll be fascinating, Hannah, when they come through at the end of this third lap, what the gap will be.
And Maringa of Romania responding well to Yasmin Chan and Nadia Battocletti, but Chan's looking good. There were questions about the sort of form that Chan would be in. Oh, as we look, unfortunately, a fall for one of the Turkish athletes right in front of Hannah Klein there. Hopefully she can get back up and get involved. And also impressed to see Jana van Lent of Belgium. She's trying to get back on terms with Maringo there in 5th place. It was a good run from Lisa Rooms last year. She was 6th, and Van Lent was 7th in the under-23 race. This is her first time in the senior ranks, and she's firmly in the top 10.
Interesting, isn't it? Maringo, that you mentioned, the former Kenyan running for Romania, 32 years old. She's a 2:20 marathon runner, and that was last year. It's not like it was a few years ago. She's a 67-minute half marathon runner, coached by Valentin Angel. She's got plenty of strength, and yet has chosen to approach this race very differently to Trapp there of France, the marathon runner, marathon specialist, the former judo exponent, who was blasted through these first 3 laps. And to her credit, Hannah, still staying well ahead. 7 seconds that gap now, is it?
Yes, and I think Maringo, she's not familiar with the European cross country, and perhaps she's gone for tactics and gone, well, Chan's got 4 individual titles, Battocletti's the silver medalist. I'll run with them. Whatever they're doing, that's the way to win, and it's perhaps the way for them to win. Whether Maringo, you're right, would have been better off forming a marathon lead pack here with Man and Trapp. Time will tell, but look at the run here from the Belgian woman as well. Van Lent, she's getting really involved in the top 5. I feel like that is just starting to diminish that lead there for Manon Trapp. And Klosterhalfen is doing everything she can to stay in contact with that front group. She spoke very eloquently in the press conference about how upset she was to miss the season last year, emotionally and physically. It was very hard to watch Olympic Games come and go and not be a part of it. But Klosterhalfen, she has built back into training, 67 and a half for a half in Valencia for her, so it's certainly a good form for the German.
Trapp definitely being reeled in. The gap's down to about 4 seconds now. I'm not sure that she has actually slowed that much, but certainly there's been an acceleration from the pack. Battocletti and Chan leading that acceleration, with Maringo in the yellow there for Romania, because that's why the gaps have developed behind them. You can see to the left of picture, Klosterhalfen back in 6th place, going with this, and these 6 are beginning to ease away. And the Belgian athlete there, who's giving a really good account of herself, Jana van Lent, moving through well, the Belgian cross-country champion. She's a 31.59 10,000 metre champion, so has got pretty good strength on the track, and won the Belgian cross-country championships just recently, their trials race for these European championships. And now the game is up for Trapp.
Trapp has slowed slightly on that first lap, 5 minutes for the previous lap, 5:07 there, and that probably means that Battocletti and Maringo and Chan, they're moving at the same pace because they've made up around about 7 or 8 seconds on Man and Trapp. So unfortunately the French woman is slowing slightly, and we really hope she can rally now as these 3 pull up alongside it. So just 2 laps to go, around about 3 kilometres in the senior women's race. Battocletti looks in control. And she looks smooth. She won a race, one of the cross-country races earlier on in the year, by a huge margin. It was some 75 seconds on the circuit in Europe. There are lots of well-established cross-country races, and Battocletti still very much in the midst of her university degree. She studies at the University of Trento, had an exam on Thursday. But these exams she always has around this time of year, they never seem to dampen her ability to perform. And she looks smooth so far, Tim, and I wonder if we might see Yasmin Chan and Maringa with their in this penultimate lap try and do something, especially Maringa with that marathon strength.
Italy leading from Great Britain and France. Battocletti pushing here to become the first female to win gold in all age groups. Italy have never won a senior medal in the European cross-country. It's possible today. She's having a very steady run here, Battocletti. It's a mature run from her so far. Last year the silver to Grovdal, but she's super consistent. I think that's what stands out, Hannah, from her last couple of years. You know, aside from her academic achievements, as you said, she took an engineering exam on on Thursday at the University of Trento. She's European champion at 5,000, 10,000, Olympic silver at 10,000, European under-20 cross-country champion in 18-19, European under-23 cross-country champion 21-22. Again and again, actually going back for the last 5 years and more, she has got it very right indeed, that blue vest of Battocletti, and there's no reason to think today should be any different.
I think we've spoken about, how many well-established track athletes we have that can turn around from the end of the season to this European Championships. There's lots of athletes that say it's impossible. It's nearly a fall for Moringa there. She stayed on her feet. But then I think there's the likes of Battocletti or Grovdell or Ingebrigtsen, and a lot of the French athletes, Jan Schrub and the likes of Jimmy Gressier in years gone by. They just turn up here. They know how to do it. They know how to finish their track season at the start of September and be ready the second week in December to contend with the best in Europe. And I love it. I think it's great. I think Ingebrigtsen has even said in the past it kind of puts him on autopilot for this time of year. It makes him get on with training, forces him back into it, and gives him a test to know what sort of shape he's in really early on.
Well, Moringo having a fabulous run. She was fourth in the European Championships half marathon back in Rome in early June. She is a 2:20 marathon runner, I think the fastest marathon runner in the race by some minutes. She's in the yellow of Romania there, the former Kenyan. Battocletti, Chan and Klosterhalfen. You could hardly have scripted this better, could you? All the big names are there. Still a brilliant run here, Hannah, from Jana van Lent of Belgium. She's probably the least heralded of this field. She's never come anywhere near, say, 15 minutes for 5,000, just inside 32 minutes for 10,000. She's outperforming herself here. And while I'm talking about the unheralded, Trapp giving a good account of herself, still hanging on to the back of this group.
Trapp is starting to look very tired over the obstacles, though, over those hurdles with the brush on top. I thought she was a goner, but she just about stayed involved. Klosterhalfen, this is interesting for me because she's had a quiet race. She looked happy to sit in 6th or 7th, and then suddenly in this penultimate lap, Klosterhalfen has got herself involved. Teams standings at the moment: Italy, Britain, Belgium. It'd be wonderful if they could repeat their bronze from Brussels last year, but Italy, that must mean the likes of Federica Del Bueno and Ludovica Carvalho running well behind Nadia Battocletti. Klosterhalfen, I think that was a real focus in the last couple of minutes for her to switch, to go from just running and ticking off the kilometres and moving around the race. Just in that penultimate lap, she's gone, okay, it's game time. They're going to hear the bell this time as they come in front of us, and the German is in the lead at the moment.
Well, Trapp grimaced a minute or so ago. She's struggling. She's just behind this quintet, these 5. Van Lent, the least heralded of them all. Moringo back in 4th place. Klosterhalfen looking very in control here. It'd be lovely to see her have a big run here today, because she was talked at length, as you said, Hannah, about that fatigue syndrome. She called it a virus, but I think it was just overtraining that took over it back in about February when she was in Addis Ababa, training in the very high altitude of Ethiopia, the Ethiopian capital. There it is, 20:45 for these 5 going through together. Trapp 4 seconds down, has done wonderfully well, stay in the top 10 through to 4 laps. I wonder if she can survive the surge from those behind her, who include, incidentally, the athlete I thought would give a really good account of herself here today, my dark horse, Sarah Lahti of Sweden. I wonder if she can come through.
5:06 for the leaders on that lap, so they're running around about the same pace, and it looked like Battocletti was starting to test everyone. That was the closest we've seen her to the front, and Klosterhalfen responded straight away. Yasmin Chan starting to struggle ever so slightly, the Turkish athlete in 5th place. If Yasmin Chan is in good shape, I'd expect her to try and do something on the far side of this course, try and blow everyone apart. That's usually her tactic, sort of a soul-destroying pace change that people think, I can't do that to the finish. Chan usually can't do it to the finish, but she gets enough of a gap on everyone that they can't get back to her. But Battocletti looks smooth. I think she looks most energetic up that hill at the moment.
You say energetic, Hannah, but you know what Battocletti is showing now? She's accelerated marginally. She's just increased the tempo a little bit, but looks incredibly relaxed. I mean, there is energy there, but it's latent energy. She hasn't really unleashed it yet. She's looking very, very calm indeed. Klosterhalfen here is determined to match her stride for stride. This has become a real dust-up between the two heavyweights. It's great to see. Battocletti, though, will gradually continue to turn that screw over this next 3 or 4 minutes on this final lap. Chan in their slipstream, trying to go with them.
If you remember, Klosterhalfen pushed Grovdale all the way to the line in Turin. It was just 4 seconds that separated them in the end. So Klosterhalfen, when she's in shape, she's a brilliant cross-country runner. She won gold as a junior. She did pick up medals in the under-23 age group as well. So she knows her way around this sort of terrain. And what a matchup. We were devastated to see Grovdale pull out, but then to see Klosterhalfen with that intent and with that wonderful time in Valencia, we knew that she could also test Battocletti on her day. Yasmin Chan has moved herself into 3rd place. That would be a wonderful performance for the Turkish athlete if she could be back on a podium here at the European Championships. They all navigate the hurdles okay at that point. So Battocletti is trying to become the first woman to win all 3 titles. Andrea Lally, Italian man, is the only person ever to have done it. So Battocletti trying to join elite company with another Italian. And I don't know, she looks pretty good for my money, Tim. She's gliding across the mud, has the luxury of choosing the best path that she wants there. And that, to me, that shows that an athlete is relaxed and they've got enough poise to position themselves.
Yeah, Battocletti very much in control. She's been applying the pressure for the last 2 or 3 minutes and now has the gap, and that sort of psychological string between herself and Klosterhalfen is just about snapped because Battocletti is away. There's no doubt about that. Klosterhalfen has just got to work double down here and hang on to that silver medal. She's up against the battle from Chan. Maringor, I think, has been going backwards for a few minutes. Van Lent as well, but Chan against Klosterhalfen is the battle now because Battocletti is gone. She's away.
Klosterhalfen, you're exactly right, Tim. She's got to concentrate here. She had a go at winning that gold medal. She tried to go with Battocletti, but nobody could live with the Italian woman today. She's striding away on the far side of the course. She'll go through a patch of sand over a log, and then Battocletti will see the finish line. And look at the gap she's opened up in, around about 800 metres. She's torn away from Klosterhalfen. Yasmin Chan working hard. Maringa and the Dutch woman Jana van Lent, they're going to have to put in a mammoth effort if they want to get on the podium. That could be the first ever individual medal for a Belgian woman, but you feel like Chan in front of a home crowd will hold on. But Battocletti, she has mastered this European Championship. She was wonderful as a junior. She led her Italian team to a junior gold medal on the team side. And last time we checked, the Italian women were in the gold medal position here in the senior race.
Well, it's been a wonderfully worked victory, this, from Battocletti. She stayed relaxed for the first 2 or 3 laps, eased to the fore in the 4th of the 5 laps, and on this final lap has unleashed her full power as double European champion at 5,000 on the track. She was always going to be hard to beat, but she has blasted away over this last 3 or 4 minutes and has opened a big gap, and it's a comfortable victory in what for many, many minutes, the first 20 minutes or so of this race, looked like it was going to be close. Battocletti showing she's a class apart, Anna.
Battocletti with a small smile on her face. She does it. She completes the set. Junior champion, under-23 champion, and now senior European cross-country champion. Battocletti came so close last year, had to give way to Grovdale, but today gold goes to Battocletti. What a wonderful day for the young Italian, and Klosterhalfen with a lovely return to form. The German matches her silver medal from 2022. She looks beside herself with joy. And Yasmin Chan, the 4-time champion, back on a cross-country podium. She looks delighted as well. A very, very happy top 3. Maringa with a great 4 for Romania. And what a run from Jana van Lent for the 5th place. Machado, Portugal, that's her highest finish in the senior cross-country championships. Lati next across in 6th. The man on Trapp holding on very well for 7th. And there's 3 British counters across the line very, very quickly there, with a couple of French athletes. It's going to be close on the team scores for them.
Well, it is, because the Italians were in the lead in the team race. Britain were 5 or 6 points down with a lap to go. Kate Axford coming through in 10th place. Gibson back in 12th place for Great Britain. That's a great run from Jess Gibson as well. But it's going to be very, very tight for the team medals. With Great Britain, who have dominated these championships over the years in terms of the medal rankings, looking to maybe get 200 medals, hit the 200 medal mark in total today at this 30th edition of the championships. Battocletti, quite supreme. We talked earlier, Hannah, about her consistency. You know, she took an exam on Thursday, as you mentioned, engineering exam. She is the real deal in every respect, isn't she? I mean, academically, very, very gifted, and in running terms, super gifted.
Oh, Nadia Battocletti is a wonderful role model for any other athletes out there. That there's a narrative that you have to only do your sport, and that doesn't suit everybody. Sometimes it's nice to have something away from the track or away from the muddy field. And look at that! I think Nadia Battocletti has just led Italy to a team gold medal by a small margin there. 3 points the difference between Italy and Germany, and Belgium matched their bronze medal from last time round. And Klosterhalfen, you can see the congratulations Klosterhalfen is getting from athletes from different nations. She's been in our sport a long time, Klosterhalfen. She was a phenomenal teenager, and she's been through so much in her career. A win in Munich in front of a home crowd was spectacular, but that silver medal, that's a wonderful showing from Klosterhalfen that class doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't, but a massive confidence boost. You know, all athletes are vulnerable to the frailties of confidence, the ebb and flow of confidence. She said to me yesterday she's been running 150, 160 kilometres a week. That's about 100 miles a week for the last 4 to 6 weeks. She ran the Valencia half marathon back in late October, ran 67.0 there. So she's her confidence has been coming back steadily, and today will have given her a massive boost. And I think she's set for a very, very good 2025. And what's impressive too for Klosterhalfen is she lost to Battocletti on the 24th of November in that Seville cross country by 73 seconds. Well, today she's only lost by 11 seconds, so she's improving dramatically.
I think that was asked in the press conference yesterday, and there was a look on her face, and I thought she might just be annoyed. So why remind me that I was beaten by 73 seconds? But I think it was a little bit of a but you know, I was. You're looking back, she was probably just off the back of that Valencia half. She was probably still in hard training, probably still recovering, and perhaps she knew that this sort of performance was up her sleeve. But it's one thing to think it's there, it's another one to execute it.
I'll tell you what was one of the runs of the day, and we've forgotten about her really, but the leader for 3 laps and more, Manon Trapp of France, finished in 8th place. She hung on really well. And
this is the woman I was talking about, Marta Penfreitas, diagnosed with breast cancer 6 months ago. She's a 1500 metre runner. She had to give up on her hopes of going to the Paris Olympics. Finished her chemotherapy 6 weeks ago, and here representing Portugal, and I think that's why you're seeing the outpour of emotion from her teammates.
Well, Mark, that was went to the script, really, didn't it? I guess with the 2 big heavyweights out in front, they're taking gold and silver.
Well, I think an indication of the quality of that event was the 3 members of the podium have all been European champions at 5,000 metres. Battocletti this year, Klosterhalfen 2022, and Chan in 2016. The one missing from 2018, Sifan Hassan. But apart from that, everybody's here.
I like you, Mark. My favourite distance, 5,000. As the next 5,000 man, I'm a bias, but I always thought 5,000 is a distance at which, once you get it right, and it's hard to get it right, you can run well from 800 up to half marathon. It's a lovely fitness to have, and of course these athletes today competing of 7.5 kilometres. It's very relevant.
Yes, and also to people like me that are park runners and attempt that distance at quite a different level.
I've retired from park run. That's how bad my running is at the moment. Hannah?
I've just come out of retirement on the park run, but it's still bad.
Should we be watching the top ranking?
I wouldn't bother. I'd give me a few more months. The Belgian team looked delighted with their bronze medal. They were just 2 points ahead of Turkey. That's such a shame for the host nation to be that close to a podium. But hats off to Belgium, get themselves on the podium again.
Well, Grovdal's title becomes that of Battocletti. Grovdal, of course, pulled out with illness just a couple of days ago. She's now focusing on her marathon debut, having won the European Championships half marathon in Rome as the Norwegian. So we wish her well on her preparation for her marathon debut, wherever it's going to be. 2 goals for Battocletti to add to the collection. Boy, oh boy. But it was tied at the finish, 33 points to Italy, to Great Britain's 36 for the Silvers.
And Palmero, their ace card, if you like. Great run from her, coming back in 13th place.
Yeah.
Just trying to look back whether, yes, I think Elisa Palmero would have scored back in 2018 when they won the junior medal as well. So her and Battocletti been through the age group rankings well together.
And with Belgium, that's 12 countries now that have won medals, which is the same total as last year in Brussels.
Yeah, Belgium have had a good day too. Great packing from the British athletes who got the silver medals there too. Kate Axford 10th, Jess Gibson 12th, and Izzy Fry 14th. I mean, you could hardly make it up. If we'd had just one in the top 10, we might have challenged the Italians. I'm saying we as a Brit, of course, but the Italians, well, supreme with Battocletti in first, and then Palmero and Cavalli in 13th and 19th.
When it's even, you look back to the fourth finisher there for Great Britain, Abby Donnelly, last year's bronze medalist, pushing Ludovica Cavalli down one spot. You know, that was trying to give the Italians points. They were trying to do everything they could to get the win, but I think when you have that first position, just that single point with Battocletti, it puts you in such a strong position.
Fabulous racing. Just one to come now. That's the senior men's race over 7.5 kilometres, 5 laps, the same as the women. It's the second biggest race of the day. 94 starters from 31 nations in the senior men's race to come. That's due off at 11 minutes past the hour, so in about 7 or 8 minutes time. But, that was quite some contest from Battocletti, and what a way to close off her racing season of her racing year of 2024. It has been one of the great years of any European distance runner, going back for many, many years.
There you go, Italy, top of the table, same as the mixed relay, so that's a third gold medal for them today, with the relay and then Battocletti in the team, and they pushing Britain down into silver medal and Belgium into the third. 13 teams finishing those 3 scorers required for a team score. It was a great, we must remember as well, back to that bronze medal for the Italian junior women. I think it's been a long time since they've been on a podium, and that was a great showing, because that junior race is so competitive.